What would happen if every country started to fight until only one remains? United States would be the first one to act, and they would quickly take Mexico and Canada, uniting the whole North American continent. On the southern part, Brazil and Argentina would both be dominating, but with Brazil's stronger army, they would beat Argentina and take the whole continent for themselves. In Europe, United Kingdom would take the whole west, while Balkans would be under the Turks once again, while Russia would dominate in the eastern part. In Africa, Egypt and Algeria would split the northern part, while the south would be controlled by the South Africans. However, Egyptian army would come out on top, taking the whole Africa for them. In Asia, China would assert their dominance, taking the whole territory of that continent. However, USA troops would demolish South America and take half of the European and African territory, while the Russians would beat China and take the other half of the world. USA vs. Russia would be the final battle, and after some fierce fighting, the United States would remain victorious. What would happen if Lionel Messi got mad and got every country he wants? Their first victim would be Uruguay, who has a small army and would be destroyed. They would look at Paraguay and Bolivia next, attacking them both at the same time. However, they would shock the Argentinians by defending pretty well, forcing Argentina to deploy more forces and finally beat them. Chile would be completely surrounded and forced to surrender, helping Argentina create the Greater Argentinian Empire. Brazil would be furious and would attack Argentina, wanting to take back the balance of power. However, Argentina would now be too strong and would push the Brazilian forces far back. US would try to send help to them, but it would be too late, since Brazil would already fall. Argentina would pick off the remaining countries one by one, eventually achieving domination among the continent. What would happen if San Marino got mad and got every country they want? First thing they would do is recruit some Italian states to their cause, making Italy send their army. However, San Marino would use this to quickly destroy the Italian army and taking nearly all of their territory, forcing them to surrender. With their new territory, they would sign an alliance with Germany, attacking France together. Germany would run through the Benelux countries, making UK mad and forcing them to join. However, San Marino would shock everyone and invade France through the mountains, and with German troops taking Paris, France would fall once again. US troops would get involved, and with UK and US fighting together, they would free France and quickly beat Germany. San Marino would be left alone and would be forced to surrender. What would happen if Iran got mad and formed the Persian Empire today? Their first victim would be Iraq, who would quickly be ran over. They would call their ally Syria, who would take Israel and other smaller countries, while they would take Azerbaijan and Georgia, securing the northern part of their empire. With Syria joining their empire, they would attack Turkey, which would be pretty hard. However, they would be able to push them back and even take them thanks to their new army. Their final victims would be Egypt and the Central Asian countries, but they would attack Iran first, weakening them before they can act. However, Iran would strike back, and after quickly destroying Egypt, they would focus all of their army on Central Asia, taking them to and finally forming the Persian Empire. What would happen if Alaska got mad and declared independence from the United States? First thing that would happen is that the US Army would immediately send their army to retake the Alaska. However, Canada would step in to defend them in hopes of them annexing their territory. A huge battle would begin, and the Canadian Army wouldn't have a chance against the American troops, but something shocking would happen, and that is Russia joining to defend the Alaska, helping Canadian soldiers push the US Army out. They would be forced to surrender and admit they lost Alaska. However, Russia would use the situation to occupy Alaska, making the Canada attack them. Their army would be weakened from the last battle, and they wouldn't have a single chance against the Russian forces. They would be defeated, putting Alaska in Russian hands once again. What would happen if Cristiano Ronaldo got mad and got every country he wants? First thing they would do is attack Spain, but things wouldn't look so good since their army is much smaller. They would be pushed back, but would call the French to their aid, who would attack the Spanish from behind, helping Portugal bounce back and beat them together. However, Portuguese army would betray the French and even take their whole land. They would try to knock the UK out, since their army is the strongest in Europe. However, this would really backfire, since the UK Navy would crush their forces, helping their soldiers invade the European land. Portugal would try to defend, but to no use. They would be completely pushed and eventually completely demolished. What would happen if Somali pirates got mad and got every country they want? First thing they would do is attack Ethiopia, their biggest enemy. Since their army would be bigger, Somalian pirates would sail to Yemen and take them by surprise, taking their land and soldiers. They would have enough strength to defeat Ethiopia now, and the battle would begin. Pirates would take the upper hand and would demolish the Ethiopian forces, growing their pirate army day by day. They would sail to India and hijack their ships, making them mad. They would sneakily invade India, and even though they would take huge parts of their territory, Indian troops would push them back. With them on the counterattack, an invasion on Somalia would begin, and things wouldn't look so good. Pirates would try to defend, but with the mighty Indian army, they would scatter, losing this conflict. What would happen if Bulgaria got mad and got revenge on the whole Balkans? First thing they would do is attack North Macedonia, who they claim it's their territory. Bulgarian army would be too much for them, and they would win their first battle. However, this would make Serbia and Greece attack the Bulgarians, which would be a problem. Turkey would use this situation and join the Bulgarians, and with them together, they would easily defeat their enemies, taking their whole land. Their next target would be the whole West Balkans, who wouldn't have a chance against the new Bulgaria. They would focus on defeating Romania now, but that wouldn't be so easy. However, Bulgarian troops would push through the Romanian mountains, and it would look like this battle is over. But Turkey would join this conflict to help Romania, and with being attacked from two sides, Bulgaria would be forced to surrender. What would